Good evening, grave robbers, and welcome back to the television graveyard. We are your TV necromancers Laura Prince and Noah Houlihan, and we have come here tonight to examine the spirits of past television shows to find out which ones could be resurrected, should be resurrected, and which ones should just stay doomed. This is a podcast in which we will analyze the history, the hype, and the aftermath of shows that ran only one season or only one episode. With me, as always, is TV's Noah Houlihan.
I'm not psychic.
Really? All of the New Yorkisms.
I didn't want to give away a lot of the good lines that are coming later.
So we are finishing New York Goes to Work.
Yes. I have some business.
Okay.
Before we get into this. So we did a lot of discussion about how it was uncensored when we watched it on Peacock.
Yes.
If you listen to last week's episode, you will notice it was censored because I found the VH1 rips on YouTube.
Okay, great.
So I did that for editing reasons, and when she goes to the nudist colony, I wanted to be able to include clips on the YouTube. And yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So if you're wondering, we did watch the unrated cuts on Peacock, but this will be edited using the VH1 rips that I found on YouTube. That being said, one thing that was a bit of research that we left out that I now have is what the polls were for every episode. So before we jump into the last 3 episodes of this, I want to go back and talk to you about the polls and what we could have seen and what we didn't see.
Right.
I want to see if you have the same realizations that I do in reading these.
Okay.
So in episode 1, where she was an exterminator, the other choices were baker or ranch hand.
Okay.
In episode 2, where she was a pig farmer, the other answers or other choices were construction worker or pet groomer.
Okay.
For 3, where she worked at the nudist resort, she could have been a casting director or a cafeteria worker.
Okay.
In episode 4, when she was the ghost hunter, the other choices were cake maker or general contractor.
These all sound like a little bit of overlap.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they were hedging bets and things like that. Then, when she was the exotic animal trainer, she could have been a dairy farmer or a gardener.
Okay.
Which is a very strange one to me. When she worked at the doggy daycare, the other choices were auto mechanic and supermarket worker. And I'll go into the other ones as we go into the other episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, the one thing that I noticed is the fact that there's a lot of overlap.
Yes.
Like, it's very clear that, like, they really wanted her to be a pig farmer, so they put farmer in there twice.
Yeah, ranch hand, she could be on the pig farm.
Yeah. I find it interesting that they seem to really wanted her to be a construction worker, because they included, like, various forms of that, and baker. They seemed like they really wanted to make her a baker. I don't know if there's a specific bakery they really wanted to film an episode at.
Yeah.
Because that's how it kind of reads to me. It's just like, I'm friends with these bakers. Let's put them on VH1. It'll help them. I also have the future ones, but there's one thing that I find interesting.
This is also where, I mean, Cake Baker and Decorator, we're also in, like, the height of that. Like,
Of the
Ace
cake.
of Cakes is a
Yeah.
couple years old. Mm-hmm. So we're at the height of the crazy fondant monster cakes.
Yes.
That have kind of fallen out of fashion a bit more now.
Right.
In favor of a slightly simpler product.
The one other thing I want to say that's interesting is she does every job in the intro.
Yes.
Which I find a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, which I said.
Yeah, like...
when we were watching it. I don't know if I said it on mic, but I did say it. when we were watching
Episode 1, they start with this like cartoon intro that shows a cartoon New York as a pig farmer, an exterminator, a fast food worker, which we're going to see, which it's like a little odd that we happen to see all of those. But I will say this, in all of the material promoting this show, including the thumbnail on Peacock, they show New York as an air stewardess, which is never an option. Which, granted, would be very hard to film.
Yeah.
Unless they had, like, a private jet and it was, like, for a celebrity. But the idea that she would jump on Spirit Airlines and be, like, pushing the drink cart around and be the one to explain how the seatbelts work, terrifying.
Yeah, the flight attendants also have a significant safety aspect of their job of checking the plane.
Right.
And checking to make sure everything is in order prior to boarding and prior to takeoff.
Yes.
And in a post 9/11 world, I don't think that they wanted even the image of New York. Like, it would have had to have been a private plane.
Exactly.
I mean, I think they could have done a really fun episode if it was like Flavor Flav's private plane.
Yeah, I just think it was interesting that it was all over the advertising for this and never an option. And speaking of the advertising, this is just a little gripe I have to get out. If you go to Peacock, there's like an extras section where you can watch extra stuff. And we're like, oh, maybe it's like the DVD extras and stuff like that. No, it's like an ad. It's like a 30-second ad for New York. And I was like, oh, it'll be the old VH1 ad. It's not. It's just a 30-second reclip of stuff that happens in episode 1. But the whole thing is widescreen. And this is a thing that bothers me personally.
Yeah.
The whole show is 4:3 because it was a standard definition show. In this advertisement, it's widescreen, which means it's zoomed in and you're missing stuff. But, as I said, when they do a talking head, it cuts to widescreen, which makes it this weird picture box look because there's black bars all around it. They fix it into the advertisement so that it's properly full screen. So an editor looked at this and was like, I'll do 30 seconds. I'm not doing the full episode.
This was a show that was probably not intended for any significant home release. This is what I kind of refer to as pre-content.
Yes.
Before you have the concept of content.
Right.
Some of these inexpensive reality shows, particularly the kind that MTV and VH1 were really churning out at this point, are like ye old content.
Yes.
I just didn't want to work that hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now that we've got that ado out of the way, do you have any further ado you'd like to add to this?
No, I do not care about the aspect ratio the way you do, and I literally never. I noticed once when we were watching, and that's because you paused and went, "Look at it! Look at it!"
It bothers me.
And I looked.
It's such an easy fix.
And I looked at you and went, "What am I looking at?" And then you got very mad.
So, without any further ado,
I thought there was something wrong with New York's outfit or something.
Let's jump into episode 7. In episode 7, the choices are junk removal, clown, or matchmaker.
So I often noticed that there was one that like wouldn't be that bad on paper, like matchmaker, casting director. I think they threw in a few so that they could get talking heads of New York going, I hope I get that.
I mean, it could be that. It could also be we want them to we want to make sure that they pick clown, so we're making the other options not great.
Yeah.
But also, I'd love to see New York as a matchmaker. Like, that sounds like a funny show to me.
Yeah, and I could just see her, like, hitting on people or telling people they're not good enough for each other.
Yes.
It would also be, like, fun to see her, like, talk up a female client of, like, he's not good enough for you.
Yeah,
And, like, see New York be a girl's girl would be kind of fun.
Yeah, if Matchmaker got picked, we would be watching a backdoor pilot for New York Plays Cupid.
Yes.
In any case, we get Clown, and we meet the fine folks at the Jumbo Shrimp Circus, Moxie and Epoch. In Epoxy, excuse me.
Yes. They dress her up immediately as a clown, and she's like a cute little clown.
Yeah.
Like, she's not scary. It's definitely that kind of just, like, cute, girly clown.
Yeah, she's just like, she's not like a sad clown or anything. She's just your basic clown.
Like giving Lunette in Big Comfy Couch.
Yes, yeah.
Like that kind of like
specific nose, to be honest.
Yeah, and just like very feminine and cute. She's not like Pennywise-y.
No, not at all. They don't make her creepy in any way.
No, she's not like... I kind of just wanted to clarify that they don't... She is by no means. Like... And they actually don't mention a lot about, like, scary clowns.
No, this is all fun and, like, circus stuff. So they're going to train her to be a clown. They're going to teach her how to host a party. And then she has to participate in the finale.
And good news, we have an expert opinion here because Noah used to be a children's party host.
Yes, this is true. I used to be a birthday party Spider-Man. Or Power Ranger.
Or SpongeBob.
Or SpongeBob. I was a Dora the Explorer once. I was Batman a few times. And Spider-Man was my best, especially because it made sense when I like showed up and they're like, and the kids would be like, "Who are you?" And I'd be like, "Peter."
Especially looking...
Where's your bathroom?
Looking the way you do, too. Like, you were giving Peter Parker.
Yes, exactly.
And I had a roommate who was a party clown.
Like an actual party clown?
Yes.
Excellent.
Like a clown.
Okay.
Not like a party performer like you, like a clown.
Okay, excellent. Because I was infuriated by the next sentence.
Two of the basic elements of clowning are making balloon animals and juggling.
No, they're not. That is not what being a clown is. Like, things like juggling and balloon animals are party tricks. But, like, what's at the core of being a clown is physical comedy and expressing emotion and the body out of control. So that being one of the first things said, I was like, lies and slander. You're not being a clown, you're being a party performer.
Yes. I mean, she's at a party company. She's not at a circus. I don't doubt that the Jumbo Shrimp clowns have learned actual clown art. I just think that that's not as interesting.
Yeah, it is a good point that Moxie and Epoxy are like the clowns, but they also have a dude to teach juggling that's neither of them.
And I had I also attended a circus graduation, which I feel like I've talked about on here recently.
I don't know if you talked about it recently, but
I had a friend of a friend who was an aerialist. Mm-hmm. And so he was graduating from circus art school. And I attended the graduation, which was like a senior recital.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of clown acts.
Yeah.
If you ever have a chance to attend a showcase performance from a circus school, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. But so I saw what like actual like trained clown looks like. And it's not really the same thing as what a party host does.
Yeah, and you can't teach it in an afternoon. No. Like we're going to try to do with New York.
My roommate tried on at least 3 occasions to teach me to juggle. It never took.
I can juggle a bit. Like if I took the time to practice, I could probably juggle.
I could kind of juggle scarves. Because gravity wasn't actively working against me.
Yeah, I can juggle scarves pretty well. And when it comes to, like, juggling balls, like, I can do it and then be like, look, I did it. And, like, but that's as far as I can go. Like, I'm doing 8 throws, and that's about it.
I am not very coordinated. If I throw something up in the air, chances are not good that I will catch it.
that it's being thrown away. It is not meant to be caught.
I had a brief and horrifying color guard experience, but I did not die.
Yes. So we see New York make some balloon animals. That's over in like an instant. We see her trying to juggle scarves. It goes as well as you'd think New York trying to juggle scarves would go. Mm-hmm. It goes okay. We then meet Sock Puppet New York.
Yes.
So they have a sock puppet that looks like New York, which is very funny. It's very Harley Cameron. Everything in this like training part goes by very fast. I have something about a knock-knock joke, but I didn't write down the knock-knock joke.
I have to do jokes with this puppet, and I only know one. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's your where? And
Then the Moxie just goes, well, that was worrisome.
Moxie's great in this.
And Moxie has very good comic timing in the Talking Heads, even when she is not clowning.
Yes.
But just, that was worrisome.
Yes.
It's a very fun episode when at this point. When she's learning those skills, it's a really funny episode.
Yeah. So we then go to the party.
Yes.
And there's a big party, and the first thing that she's doing, I believe, is like face painting, which is a thing that we did not see her learn.
Yes, and face painting is very hard.
Yes, it's tough. And she's being like a silly clown.
I can neither face paint nor can I have my face painted.
You can have your face painted?
I break out terribly in face paint.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a rage.
No, that's New York.
I break out in a rage if I get face painted.
No, anytime that I have had my face painted with specifically like that kind of face paint, my face explodes.
Oh, okay.
I don't have that reaction to most makeup. It just seems to be concentrated on like kids' face paint.
Gotcha. So there's this one kid at the party that New York tries to paint his face. And she's like, come on, get in the chair. And he pops up and goes,
take my arm, little boy.
Touch me and I sue you for sexual harassment.
And New York is just like stunned. And that's when you lean over to me and say, so this is like the Cruise kids, right?
Yeah.
Like that, but that was an actor. I was like, yeah, probably.
I don't know if that was an actor, because you said that was a Fed line. And I was like, I don't know. I think the kids were instructed that they could say and do whatever they wanted to New York. And were not instructed to behave in any way.
What 12-year-olds like? You know what's funny? Litigation and crimes of sexual harassment.
So, we're around the same age, right?
Yes.
I feel like it was briefly very in style to, like, yell things like bad touch and, like...
What? I'm sorry, what?
Okay, well, I might have gone to a rougher school than you.
No, sir. It was in style?
Not like in style, like Jenko jeans.
Well, yeah, you were wearing a shirt that said bad touch?
No, but like, that humor was acceptable and funny for middle schoolers, and he does say he's 12. Right? Like, he says he's 12, or I think the Chiron says he's 12.
Something like that, yeah.
But, like, it's definitely that, like, very middle school, like, they don't really know. They're like, I'm gonna sue you.
It's one of the kids that got to watch South Park.
Yeah.
All right. I can see that being
maybe
a
in
possibility.
style is not the wording I wanted to use, but, like... I remember,
of the time.
Yeah, I remember kids of that time. Like, that was a really common trope in fiction. Was, like, young children threatening legal action in adult. Like, this isn't even the first time I've seen that bit.
Like a little Alex P. Keaton action.
Like, yeah, like kids saying, like, I'm gonna sue you if you touch me. Like, I feel like I remember that in other pieces of media of that time. I can't, like, think of one off the top of my head, but I definitely remember that bit.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty plausible that that kid has also seen those tropes.
I think it's a Fed line because he was mic'd.
Oh, I think a bunch of the kids... Well, yeah, like, I think a bunch of kids were mic'd, but...
Yeah. New York doesn't take too kindly for this and, like, tries to throw him out of the chair.
Well, my notes here say, oh, she's not even that bad. She just didn't pitch up her voice at all. Oh, nope, she shoved a kid.
Yeah. Because the kid's like, I don't want to get my face painted. He's like, all right, then get out of the chair.
Which, like, how did he get that far? How did he get to the face painting chair if he didn't want his face painted?
Yeah. I was like, it's just a weird thing that happens.
And I noticed that these kids are not consistent ages.
No. That's why I think it's all the cruise kids.
Well, yeah, that's why I mentioned it being all the cruise kids, is because you have kind of a wide range of ages, more than you would generally see at a birthday party. At a birthday party, like, say it's a 7th birthday, most kids are going to be between 5 and 9. Mm-hmm. You're not really going to have, like, a 12-year-old attending. And if they are attending, they're, like, over by the food stealing cake.
Yeah. There's also this other weird moment where she's like, I can't choose who should be next. I'm going to hide my eyes and someone just run up into the chair. And, like, all the kids start running and the other clowns are like, no, let's not do that. Let's all take turns and not run. And then I don't have anything until the finale. Do you have any notes before the finale?
No, the next thing I have is her employee review. And we see an absolutely awesome balloon sculpture of New York.
Yes, that's true. But just to go over what the finale is, they don't tell New York this. It's like, oh, we have a surprise. I was so sure it was going to be pie.
Yeah, like she was going to get...
Oh, she's going to get hit by a pie, and I cannot wait. Instead, like, they have her hold these 2 sticks, and then they spin basketballs on them.
Yeah.
And then they tell her to be still as they juggle clubs around her.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like a neat, like, thing you'd see on, like, What Would You Do on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. And it speaks more to the skill of the other clowns than her.
Yeah.
Because she is just standing still and they're doing everything else. Which is a way to keep her involved in the performance without her actually, like, doing anything.
But I cannot believe they did not hit her with a pie. Like, if they hit New York with a pie, like, they could have called it a pumpkin pie.
Hey.
It would have been beautiful. So now it's time for the performance review.
Yes.
And she kind of gets, like, some positive, like, you know, the juggling instructor says, like, no one can learn to juggle in a day. For a day's worth of practice, you did pretty well.
So she actually passes juggling.
Yeah. She gets a lot of good feedback on just being a clown and, like, doing the finale. And
they said she was a good performer.
Right.
But a terrible party host.
Yeah, because, like, you can't manhandle the kids and you can't have them, like, running up.
You can't fight a kid at a birthday party.
Yeah. And then Moxie goes, so with all that in mind, good luck on your next job, and rips the check up, which I did not see coming. And New York loses her mind.
It's amazing.
And was like, well, I'm taking my balloon sculpture then.
Yeah, she takes the balloon sculpture, gets in the car screaming. Well, she trashes the set.
Yeah.
But, like, it's kind of funny because she trashes the set. But it's really, it's all, like, children's birthday party setup. So everything's, like, cardboard.
Yeah. Then we get this insane scene at the end where we're back in the training school.
Yes.
And they have a little person annoying New York to get her to practice, like, not hitting children.
Wait! Hey, bro! You gonna be good? Come on.
Look, New York, you can ask for his parents.
Look, little boy, are you gonna be good?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be good?
No.
Why not? You little bastard! You don't you need an ass whooping? That's what he needs.
And this guy just grabs New York's leg and just won't let go. It's very weird. So I have a little bit of research on this one.
Noah did some research.
I checked out Jumbo Shrimp Circus. Their website is still up.
Oh.
You can check out Moxie and Epoxy. They have not updated their website since 2023.
Okay.
So I don't know how active they are, though the website does claim that they do a show every Sunday. I don't think that that's true. They claim that they do it at a Rocket Fizz, which I don't think they are anymore. And I tried to look up the Rocket Fizz in California, and it does not appear to be there. But you can check out their YouTube. You can see them juggling and stuff like that. But the website is up, and it was last updated 2 years ago.
Yeah, like it looks like they have a Facebook.
Yes.
So it looks like they were, at least until recently, still active.
Yes. Episode 8.
Yes. Episode 8 is finally when she joins food service. What were her other options?
Her other options were landscaper, which again sounds like they're trying to get construction worker to happen.
Yeah.
Or bounty hunter. They were going to have Django Fett show up.
So there is a book series that was extremely popular. It's called they're called like The One for the Money, like the Stephanie Plum books.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like that is very much what we would be getting with New York as a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Of like this very girly, very feminine bounty hunter who is not very tough and does not know what she's doing, but just kind of does it.
I just think that would have been very funny. Like, New York, the bounty's getting away. I'm tired.
I want to see something real quick. This could have absolutely... I was just seeing...
If this was a Dog the Bounty Hunter crossover?
It could have been. It could have been a Dog the Bounty Hunter crossover episode, because that show begins in 2004.
Yeah, that would have been...
So I wanted to see, I was like, could this have been the same time?
Yes. But instead it is fast food. She will be working at Archibald's drive-thru, which still exists in California. There are 2 active locations for Archibald's drive-thru. She's just going to do basically the typical fast food stuff. She has to flip burgers. She has to work the drive-thru. And I think, like, wash potatoes.
Yeah, she works the drive-thru. She does prep.
Prep, yes.
And then has to work the grill.
She never, like, works the cash register.
No. And this is another job that I did.
Yes.
I did have a fast food stint of exactly 1 month.
Yeah.
I went to the restaurant next door that was like a table service restaurant and got a job as a host. And,
that's a good call.
Whilst in my McDonald's uniform. And then changed in their bathroom and turned in my uniform and quit.
Yeah. I've never worked fast food. But it's a lot of work.
Do not recommend.
As New York will find out.
Do not recommend. And I only ever worked register. So I never had to do I was very young. I was like barely old enough to have a job.
Yeah.
So they don't have you back in the grill when you were when your working papers are kind of if you have that many asterisks on your working papers. I don't know if every state has working papers for kids.
Right.
In the state I grew up in, you would have under 18, you had to get like paperwork to have a job.
Right.
And the younger you were, the more limitations on what you could do and what hours you could work.
Right.
So I was working there when I could literally just run a cash register and that's it. They give her like a sexy uniform, which is great.
Yeah.
Like it's clearly an altered version of whatever their uniform is. And this is normal for New York. Like usually she has a very cute or sexy version of the uniform.
They want her to look good.
And they have her do prep, so they have her washing potatoes for their hand-cut fries. And I have 2 notes here. I hate washing potatoes.
It does suck.
They tell her that she's taking too long, and I was like, yeah, I take forever to wash potatoes myself, because potatoes are kind of weird. And 2, turns out washing potatoes is not riveting television.
Yeah. So she starts, like, flirting with the guy.
Yeah.
She's basically trying to use her sexuality to convince this guy to do her work for her. Or at least give her a good review when she's not doing her work. It makes you kind of think back to when she was the dog groomer, when she was like all of a sudden tired. If this would have been her strategy if she was working with a man instead of a woman on that job. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like New York playing her tricks.
Yeah.
Does not go well. New York starts the cry, and someone yells, "It's been a half an hour."
Yeah, like it's not that hard.
Yeah. She then has to cook the burgers
On the grill.
So she's throwing like the meat on there as well as the toasted buns. Nice touch, Archibalds. And she touches the grill like, a 3-year-old child would. And then is like, "I've burned my finger." Thus, like, nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, which, like, you don't touch a grill.
No, you absolutely do not.
It's cooking meat. You are meat.
Yes. You are meat.
Like, the same thing that happens to the burger will happen to your hand.
And the employee that she's working with just goes, "She's a lazy girl." Then we get New York working the drive-thru, which is the best part of this episode. Because she's got to take the orders, and she doesn't know where the buttons are on the cash register to put the order in, which I totally understand. When I was a waiter, I would have this problem often.
Yeah.
Where they would order something, I was like, "I don't know where this is. I can't find the button." And she's wearing like a headset so she could take orders, and the button to talk is on her belt. But New York can't seem to comprehend that the microphone's on her head. So she keeps grabbing the belt and pulling it to her mouth to shout into it, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, drive-through is hard. Especially just, like, it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
Especially in a loud restaurant.
I mean, the trope of the speaker not working at a drive-thru has existed for 40 years.
Yeah, like that's a Flintstones era joke.
Yeah. Like 60 years, yeah.
And I have the note of, "This is painful to watch."
Yeah. It's
She
hard.
calls customers names.
Yeah. She just keeps, like, yelling back, "Hold on."
How much longer is it gonna be? I don't know, I'm not psychic.
But I'll be right there, just a minute. Woo! Can I take your order, please?
Yeah, I really don't like the attitude that you've been talking to me with.
I'll have a veggie burger and a lemonade with little ice.
Okay. And sorry about the attitude, but I'm really not, but I'll tell you I am.
She gets flustered and frustrated.
Yeah. And it doesn't go well.
No.
So when it's time for her evaluation, the owner's like standing up front and all the other employees are behind the counter as if they needed a barricade between them and New York for what was about to happen.
It really feels that way. It really feels like they're letting the rest of the employees hide.
Yes. The employees all give New York a no.
Yeah, I mean, New York utterly fails.
Yes. But then New York has to look at the manager and be like, "Well, it's still your call." Like, there's still hope in this situation.
There is not hope.
There is not hope. He's like, "You have lost 2 weeks in a row."
Yeah.
Rips up the check. And New York yells,
You know what? This place, I swear to goodness, this is a perverted ass restaurant. Aren't your boss? That is a nasty ass name for a restaurant anyway. You know what? Aren't your balls out of my damn face?
I mean, that is exactly what she says. She throws a tantrum. She cries and begs. And then she gets into the car and tells her driver,
I wanted my money
I know you wanted your money. I wanted my money. I swear I did.
It's that very entitled thing of, like, not seeing that that's the action of the result of your own actions.
Yeah.
And taking it as, like, they should have given me my money because I wanted it, not because I earned it or did the things I was supposed to do.
Exactly.
I will also say, out of every episode of New York Goes to Work, this is the only one that looks like the company may have lost money having New York be there.
Yes.
Because, like, there are shots of, like, the drive-thru getting, like, real backed up. There's lots of, like, horns, which I'm sure were added in post. But, like, if this is real and this was, like, an open day for Archibald, they lost money this day.
I'm sure it was not an open day. Like, I'm sure this was filmed, either they were, like, closed for renovations. How expensive could it possibly be to essentially artificially close down a location for an hour or two?
Yeah.
Like, they could have been like, oh, we're going to be closed from, or we're going to open late.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of closing a fast food restaurant just to, like, film a stunt sounds ridiculous. But I will also say that's one thing that I caught is all the customers in the drive-thru are not blurred.
Yeah.
Which means one of two things. Don't know which is true, but I think you would understand which one's probably true. Either they're all actors and we're told to, like, drive through and make complicated orders. Or two, there's a guy at the end of the drive-thru after these people get annoyed and don't get their food after a long time going, hey, I know you're really annoyed. We'd like to show your face on television. Is that cool? Here's $40.
And this would be, like, one of my biggest fears is, like, being pushed to the brink and losing patience with a customer service person. And then someone being like, I would like to put that moment on TV.
Yeah, is that okay?
And I'd be like, no.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. The ocean.
So then let's go to our final episode here. Episode 9. There's no choices of what she's doing. It's choices of who she's fighting. Because for the last episode, she is going to be a boxer. Your choices are Mr. Boston, who is an I Love New York alumnus who got sent home, like, in the middle of the season. The pig farmer, Brian Porkchop Jones, from episode 2.
The son of the, he was, like, the son.
Yes.
In the pig farm episode.
And Pumpkin from Flavor of Love, the girl who spit in New York's face.
And it's clear the only answer is Pumpkin.
The only answer is Pumpkin. So she has to go through all of the steps of being a boxer. So we start with a press conference.
Well, yeah, she meets her trainer, and then it's established that only the winner is going to get the money. And then we get this press conference.
Right.
And we also get to see and hear the unedited spit scene.
Yes, which I had never heard before.
Because I'd only ever seen it on VH1. And obviously I've seen it a million times because VH1 loved that clip. But it was interesting to finally to see it with the language. Because I will admit, Flavor of Love is not one I revisit the same way I revisit Rock of Love.
Right.
Because I didn't watch Flavor of Love first run. I was not as into celebriality until it started to, like, really take off.
Yeah.
I feel like I have seen Flavor of Love 1.
Yes.
But I think I feel like I just didn't watch it as much as I watched Rock of Love and I Love New York.
Yes.
I watched I Love New York.
I Love New York was great.
Which is why Mr. Boston appearing, I'm like, oh!
Yes. Mr. Boston, who also famously got knocked out of the ring by Chance during an I Love New York, like, challenge.
Leading directly to his elimination.
Yeah. So, they each kind of have like a chat. Like Mr. Boston says something, Porkchop says something. Pumpkin no-shows the press conference.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if she shows up for the fight, she wins the vote, she will still be allowed to fight. It's like, okay. I think I know what's going on here.
The questions are interesting because they ask Mr. Boston,
are you worried about being looked at as a jerk that beats on women? Or?
I have thought of that, but the thing is, the last couple of years, I've had a lot of people ask me if New York really is a woman and if she's not a man. So it may not even feel like if I'm actually boxing a woman.
Well, he said that about me.
Correct.
which is a really unfortunate pattern in VH1 celebrityality, particularly toward black women.
Yeah.
Because this happens on Rock of Love, where one of the competitors has like the same attack on a black woman. I think this is in Rock of Love Bus.
Oh, it wasn't Dallas and Lacey?
No, I don't know if Lacey implied Dallas was a man off the top of my head. I know she hit her.
I think, no, Lacey was trying to get Dallas to hit her. This is not what this is about.
No, it was definitely Rock of Love Bus, because I feel like it was the Blonderage.
Okay. In any case, I have this question for you.
Yes.
If you were going to have her box one of her past employees / bosses, would you have picked Brian Porkchop Jones for this?
No.
I would have 100% wanted to see her fight Moxie.
I was thinking Moxie too!
Oh my god, could you imagine if she boxed the clown?
Well, and like, just the clown continues to clown.
Yeah.
Like, New York punches and Moxie just like squeezes a horn that she has concealed on her person, so it goes.
She's got one of those extendable boxing gloves. It'd be great.
Shoots water out.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Plus, like, in the end, she got the money in the pig farm episode.
She did. I think that's how they try to couch it, though, is that he thinks she shouldn't have, because he did vote against her.
Right. There was no chance in hell people were voting for Brian on this poll. So we are seeing them, train. And a few things that I wanted to point out about the training is New York at one point says something like,
There's the pig underneath his fingernails. Hello.
which sounded exactly like Bailey.
Hello?
Yeah, ding dong, hello. To the point where I was like, did Bailey rip this off of New York Goes to War? Because I would totally believe that.
Bailey is about the age group that would have been, like, watching this. Because Bailey is not quite 36 years old, which would have made her roughly about 20 when this aired. You know, home from college for the summer, watching whatever's on. Same reason I watched the show. So, really could have been.
Yeah, so if I ever meet Bailey, I will have a
real dumb
reality question for her. There's also this like real serious talk that the other coach gives to Mr. Boston and Brian Porkchop Jones of, you're really in a lose-lose situation. You're either going to get beat up by a girl or beat up a girl. It's like, ooh, it's a bad thing to sign up for.
Yes.
So we see them training. New York is awesome at jumping rope, it turns out.
Yeah, she talks about how she used to do double dutch in high school. It's also like, New York's in shape.
Yeah.
New York's been to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, New York wears midriff-bearing outfits a lot in the late 2000s. Like, I am hardly surprised to see that New York knows her way around fitness equipment. Like, her being good at this part did not surprise me in the least. What I love is when we see the men training, you didn't realize this. You can hear New York jabbering on in the background.
Because for some reason they're training in the same gym, but you can hear New York just in the background screaming, which is
They're in like adjacent rooms to one another. And you can hear her through the wall.
Yes. There is a weird moment where, like, they're at a break and they're all sitting together.
Yeah.
And Mr. Boston kisses New York's cheek. And then it cuts to a talking head where he's like, it's all part of the strategy. I'm only here to a false sense of security that I'm going to knock her head off.
Yeah.
Whoa, Mr. Boston.
There's a great talking head from Mr. Boston.
Mr.
Boston has, like, none charisma. Like,
No.
he is... he's just not good in talking heads.
He is mayonnaise.
And he has a line where he says he teaches us uppercuts and jabs, and that's good, because those are the punches I need to kick New York's ass.
Yeah.
It's, like, very, very eloquent.
Then...
Pork Chop, while they're flirting, is literally in the shot, like, ew.
Then we get to see them spar for the first time.
Yes, with Spice Crosby.
Yes, Spice William Crosby is a very athletic woman. Mm-hmm. At the time of the show, she was 56 years old.
Yeah, and she is, like, her arm is big.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm an actress, but I'm also a fighter. So I'm going to put you through your paces.
Yeah, she is a well-known stunt woman and has done a surprising amount of work on the Star Trek franchise.
Yes, she's done a lot of stunts, a lot of Star Trek stuff. But there is one line I have to bring up. I believe she's fighting Mr. Boston, who's, like, very tall.
Yeah.
She says, I also used to wrestle. So, like, I'm used to, body slamming guys. I was like, oh, okay. Let me look up her professional wrestling career. She wrestled one match. Mm-hmm. Now, surely she had to train and stuff like that, but she only had one wrestling match. She lost to Debbie the Killer Tomato in 1986.
Wow.
So this wrestling match she's talking about was over 30 years ago when this was filmed.
In what, do you remember?
The company, I do not.
Because I'm wondering, how good is record keeping that far back?
Yeah, it's true that it might not be as...
Because this would have been, like, late territories.
Yeah.
Like, almost not the territories. And if she was on the indies like, Cage Match...
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of those indie shows from the 80s and 90s are just lost.
Are not cataloged. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because 86 would be, WrestleMania 3?
It's 41 this year.
Yeah.
In 2025. So WrestleMania 1 would have been in 84.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were WrestleMania 3, roughly.
Yeah.
And so I think we're still very much in the... She could have wrestled for a couple years, and we just wouldn't really know, because I just don't think the smaller shows were as well documented as they are with stuff like Cage Match.
That's true. Well, Noah did half-ass research, and that's what he found.
I don't think this is something we had the time to do exhaustive research on.
New York spars, and it makes her cry.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't like... She's like, I don't like doing that. I don't like punching faces.
She actually says something that's really interesting of, like, I don't like beating up a person who did nothing to me.
Right.
Like, she has no problem.
She can't wait to kill Pumpkin.
Yeah, she has no problem fighting someone she feels deserves it. But in this situation, like, she doesn't feel right hitting someone who has not wronged her in any way.
Right.
Never mind that, like, getting punched in the face sucks. And I guess some people could be like, well, that wrestler just punched me in the face. I think I could punch them back now.
Yeah.
So she goes to church.
Yeah, so she goes to church to stretch out this episode.
And, well, I thought we were going to get a Sister Patterson sighting. Her mother.
Right.
Because her mom is, like, very much a character on, like, I Love New York. So I thought we was like, oh, we're going to get her mom, but we don't.
No, this is clearly like they had more than a half-hour episode, but less than an hour episode.
Yes.
So she goes to church for a little bit. There's also like there's this insane bit where she's like punching meat like Rocky and like running through the streets, and then it comes up underneath 9 hours before the fight. I was like, conserve your energy, girl. Why would you go for a mile run today?
Like, yeah, you want to be eating pasta the night before and going to sleep.
Exactly. So it is time to reveal who won the poll. And surprise, surprise, it's Pumpkin.
Yes.
However, Pumpkin no-showed.
Of course.
So it's going to be Mr. Boston, the runner-up in the poll. Because no one voted for Brian. That's stupid.
No.
This reminds me of a special they did on Spike TV.
Yeah.
Where Dana White, the owner of the UFC, decided he was going to fight one of their, like, big stars. What's his name? Tito something.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I had it. It went away in my brain. I don't think Tito Ortiz. I think.
What is this from again?
It was a special on Spike TV where Dana White, the owner of the UFC, was going to train and fight one of their biggest fighters because, like, they had a conflict. I believe.
Tito Ortiz is.
Yeah, it was probably Tito Ortiz.
Yeah.
And.
Yes.
They showed.
UFC Bad Blood, Dana White versus Tito Ortiz.
They showed his entire training camp. And then at the end, Tito no-shows. And that's just the end of the show. And I was like, why would you air this? We're not doing that for Stay Doomed. You can count that as an episode we just did, because that's all you have to say about it. So we're getting Mr. Boston versus New York.
Yeah.
Mr. Boston has an unbelievable reach advantage.
Oh, I have a question, actually. I wanted to bring in a guest to talk about this.
We have a guest?
Yeah. I've contacted commentator Scott Holiday.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
The Scott Holiday?
The Scott Holiday.
All right.
So I was wondering if Scott Holiday had any insight to this match.
Scott Holiday here from Plus 2 Wrestling. We're going to break it down as we take a look at New York versus Mr. Boston. Mr. Boston has a huge reach advantage here, which is very important in the sport of boxing. It's all about getting those strikes in. A lot of people think that boxing is about knockouts. It's not. It's about punches landed. And if New York is going to have to get inside that big reach, she's going to land any blows. Luckily, New York does have the quick feet. She does train with jump rope. So it's very possible that she could outmaneuver the slower Mr. Boston to get inside and lay in those shots. How did you get Scott Holiday here?
He owes me a favor.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you to Scott Holiday for making that video. What we then see is not a boxing match. It is a series of cuts around what might be a boxing match happening.
Around two people who have trained for approximately 4 hours.
Yes.
Who want $10,000.
Well, also, Mr. Boston has the advantage in that he trained another day when he fought Chance on I Love New York. Mr. Boston lays in some, like, decent shots on New York. New York is, like, in tears. She doesn't want to do it anymore. But her corner's like, you got to do this. This is what, you want your money, right? Go get your money. You're the HBIC. Let's do this. Meanwhile, in the other corner, the trainer's like, okay, so you've basically won already. So you could, like, end it now, or we could have fun, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to end it now, or do you want to have fun? And Mr. Boston goes, I want to end it. like a nerdy version of the Russian from Rocky IV.
If he dies, he dies.
I don't know. If she dies, she dies, you know?
Have I mentioned I'm getting laid a lot?
I'm getting laid.
We haven't mentioned that, but he mentions it a lot.
Yeah, that the show got him famous and he's having lots of sex.
Yes.
I remember watching...
And it's about as charismatic as our explanation of it just was.
I remember watching, I think it was like an episode of Cribs with Mr. Boston. And Mr. Boston's like, I get laid all the time, but I want all my women to feel secure. So on my bedroom door is the last time I got checked for a sexually transmitted disease.
No.
This way they know I'm clean and they got nothing to worry about. Which, you know, nothing's like, oh, you want to see my documentation? So, this is what the rest of this kind of looks like. New York is not boxing. She's fighting.
Yeah, like she's kicking and it's not kickboxing.
Like, remember when she got spit on by Pumpkin and the way like the claws came out and the way she went after her?
Yeah.
That's how she throws all of her punches. They come way back and then they go up and then they're punching down with like the palm of her hand?
Yeah, like a palm strike, sort of.
Kind of. Like she wants to scratch it, but she's wearing these big mittens and she can't. And then she'll throw a kick and then run away.
Almost like she's someone who's never really boxed but has been in a couple of fights.
Mm-hmm. So Mr. Boston again just clearly wins the second round. In the third round, I noticed this very weird thing. The corners, the coaches, are on the ring apron shouting instructions.
Yeah.
So New York's coach is telling her, like, you know, move around, you know, keep your gloves up, you know, stay focused, don't get frustrated. And you can see Mr. Boston's person moving his hands like, slow down, you have to stop hitting her.
Yeah.
This is when I then realize that the fight is 4 rounds.
Yes.
Which is not boxing. There's 3-round boxing, there's 12-round boxing, but 4-round boxing is very strange.
Yeah, like, because I thought maybe it was 5 and it was going to be like best 3 out of 5.
Right.
But 4 rounds seems like an odd even number.
Yes, it's very strange to do it that way. There are no knockouts. Because this is important. During round 4, I hear one of the coaches say, this is your last 1-minute round.
Yes.
So they're also only 1-minute rounds.
Yeah.
We then go to the judges because there are no knockouts. And the judges all score it the same way. They score it 10-9. The first round, 10-9 Boston. The second round, 10-9 Boston. The third round, 10-9 New York. And the fourth round, 10-9 New York. So it's a draw. Quick note on how boxing scoring works.
Because I don't know.
If you win a round, you get 10 points.
Okay.
If you lose, you receive 9 or less.
Okay.
In all of my watching of boxing, all my watching of UFC that all use the same scoring system, I've never seen a 10-7. Ever.
Really?
I've seen a few 10-8s. They are rare, but that basically means you got the crap kicked out of you the entire round. That's how you get a 10-8.
Okay.
Or you lost a point. This happens more often in boxing, where you have a 10-9 round, but you lost a point for throwing a headbutt or throwing an elbow.
Or throwing like a lot of kicks.
Or throwing an unbelievable amount of kicks. Or running away and refusing to engage. Those are things that lose you a point. It becomes so painfully obvious that this was a draw from moment 1.
Yeah.
Like, this was always going to be a draw. They never say, like, you each get $5,000 or anything like that.
They do.
Do they say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Because I was just like, well, what happens to the money the whole time? Do you both get $10,000?
No, they split it.
They split it. But they also give, like, New York a title.
Yes.
Because she's still the HBIC.
Yes. And no, they did not sell replica titles of that. Why would you ask? Why would you think I know?
I will say, like, I thought this would be funny, but there are moments where it's just a very tall man punching New York, and it just feels wrong.
And, like, she has not antagonized him much to make it feel... Like, she doesn't antagonize him enough to the point where, like, you can't fault him for striking back, so to speak. It just feels weird. He has every physical advantage over her.
Yeah, like... I'm okay with an equal fight of intergender standards. I don't believe they are in the same weight class.
No.
Because Mr. Boston's got like 6 inches on New York. There's no way that they weigh close to the same amount.
No.
And like, it's very different between like 2 boxers where like one is just superior than the other. And this, where one of the boxers after the round ends starts crying and saying, I don't want to do this. And then they go, no, you get back in there and get punched by that large man some more.
Yeah, it's not great.
It feels weird. So that's New York Goes to Work.
Yeah.
It does end with a poll of what's next.
Yes, it does. I do remember this.
Is it I Love New York Season 3? Is it, I think it's Season 2 of New York Goes to Hollywood? Or do you go back to the real world? And it was basically giving the VH1 audience a chance to go, we're done with New York. Which I guess wins, because I don't think anything happens.
What actually happens here is I Love New York 3 wins.
Oh, does it?
Yes. But here's when we have to start looking at dates.
Okay.
This airs in the spring of 2009. Now, gentle listeners who've been with the show for a long time, what happens in summer of 2009?
What would that be, Laura?
The show Megan Wants a Millionaire. Mm-hmm. Which effectively ends all of the dating shows.
Yeah.
One more does air. Frank the Entertainer in a Basement Affair airs, but one has reason to believe that had probably been completed.
Yeah.
Ahead of the murder.
Yes.
That stops the airing of Megan Wants a Millionaire.
Yes.
This celeb-reality sort of comes crashing to a halt.
Yes.
In summer 2009.
Yeah, as we mentioned in Megan Wants a Millionaire, they had filmed I Love Money 3.
Yes.
But it will never see the light of day.
I Love Money 4.
4, excuse me.
No, I Love Money 4 airs. I Love Money 3 does not.
Oh, interesting.
So there is just a missing season. But I Love Money 4 airs in late 2010 and is the last major celeb reality show. They're just not able to make the shows work after that. It's that and like Real Enchants the Legend Hunters.
Right.
And even that one is no longer a dating show. Mm-hmm. They actually are looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, well, that's something we...
And I actually don't really remember that one.
I don't remember that at all.
Once we get into 2010, I think I don't have the free time I have. I remember watching Frank the Entertainer in a Basement Affair, but looking at this, I don't actually even remember watching the 4th season of I Love Money. Okay. I think by this point, I really don't remember. Like, all of these did air after Megan Wants a Millionaire, but they really... You get the impression that they're finishing out contracts.
Interesting. Because I had a theory. Maybe I have my dates wrong. But I wanted to go back to the ghost hunting episode. And I was like, I feel like this is a soft pilot for the Celebrity Paranormal Project, which saw various celebrities ghost hunting.
The Celebrity Paranormal Project airs 3 years before this show.
3 years before this? Really? Damn.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I found all of, if we want to do that as an episode. Stay tuned.
Hey, Editor Noah here. Sorry for interrupting. Just wanted to bring this up. After we recorded, we actually found an interview with New York where she explains that she was about to start filming not just I Love New York 3, but also Season 2 of New York Goes to Work. This had actually been greenlit for a second season, but she specifically cites the events of the contestants' actions after Megan Wants a Millionaire, where the terrible events that took place where 2 lives are lost that ended those shows happening. So there it is, straight from New York's mouth. That is the event that kills Celebriality on VH1. And surprise, this was gonna get a season 2. So just wanted to add that in because we found that out post-recording.
I'm looking at the cast of it, and so it's wild.
Yeah, they have My Fair Brady on there.
And a distressing number of them are no longer with us.
Oh. Well, that'll be sad.
And Adrian Curry, who once defended me from a man at a Comic-Con.
Yes, that story I know you've told recently on the mic. In any case, this ends with New York walking away with $4,500 or $45,000 because she gets $10,000 for the one she wins and $5,000 for this one. So that's exactly half.
Wow.
Which is interesting. What did you think of this show?
I mean, I think I'm sticking with the concept of pre-content.
Yes.
It very much reminds me of this is something I feel like you would watch on streaming now. Like, it's very much that, like, just throw something on, I'm tired.
So, here's my thought. This is a very weird celebriality show.
Yeah.
Because to get literary, every other conflict in celebriality is person versus person.
Yeah.
This is person versus the situation every time.
Yeah.
Not the person, the situation, the situation, the situation.
Yeah. The situation was on MTV, and they
Right.
and VH1 didn't do a lot of crossovers in this time.
So it's person versus their environment, basically. And it's a weird scenario in that we want to see New York struggle. But because it's just person versus the environment could just win, and then there's no show. But if she also just did everything well, there's no show. I think the way you do this is it's got to be New York versus someone. Ideally, Pumpkin. And at the end, they're like, we're going to pick the employee of the month, and they're going to get the money.
I mean, I think you could even center it around New York and have it be a different... Because New York was not known for making friends.
Yes.
So you could have people who appeared on I Love New York. You could also have people who appeared on either season of Flavor of Love.
You could have had it been a different person every week. That would have been fun.
I also... This is just me. I would have really liked to have seen, like, New York and Heather from Rock of Love. Because they both filled a very similar role in their shows. Right down to, like, both of them showed up in the next season.
Yeah.
And if Heather is to be believed, she was actually supposed to have the spinoff
Right.
after Rock of Love.
But because of the fight.
But because she had a fight with Daisy during the reunion special, she lost that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would have been very interesting to pit New York and Heather against one another.
Yeah, that would be good TV.
They were so similar in their general roles.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea, instead of like, think back to the exterminator situation, where like, oh, we got to go in there and collect this body, and she just doesn't do it. If you then have someone like a Pumpkin who's like, well, I'll do it. Now you're watching Pumpkin get your money. Are you more willing to get under into that crawl space now? I think if you made it more of a versus show,
yes,
than just New York versus The Job, I think you'd have a more interesting show.
I agree. I think it could have been a different person. I think it should be a different person, because I think it would get old having it be the same person. And I mean, VH1 sort of does this concept with the Charm School series.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Which New York does not appear on.
Yeah, she's big enough for her own show.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that, like, that was really motivating of when you had someone you didn't like on your previous show.
Right. So, yeah, that was my thought for this, is like, this show needs work. So in the end, for me, this is a stay doomed.
This is a stay doomed. This was fun to watch once, but I don't think I really want to watch more of it.
Yeah. Like, I have the other episodes that would have existed in a season 2. She would have been a baker, a construction worker, a cake maker, a landscaper, a junk removalist, and a bounty hunter. I think those would have been interesting, but like, I think I had enough of this concept. And I think Boxer is the finale.
Yes, I agree.
Like, you can't really top the boxing. So, yeah, it's a stay doomed from me.
Stay doomed from me as well.
So that's going to do it for this episode here at Stay Doomed Studios. We're not sure what we're doing next week, so it'll probably be something short, but we haven't decided yet. So, mystery episode next week. Get excited.
Yes.
Where can people find us?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com or on Blue Sky at Stay Doomed.
And if you want to defend clowns like I do, and that they are not, the staples of being a clown is not making balloon animals, I'm at TV's Noah on Blue Sky and Instagram.
If you just want to talk about celebrity, I am Laura Crane on Blue Sky, and I want to talk about celebrity. Until next time, stay doomed.
Also join our Discord.